This Ado mention a particular crop that is signature to Cameroonians and all that. It's a leafy veggie. Any of these system can grow that same crop. So whatever crop you have in mind, the systems we've spoken about and the processes we are going to go through now is one way you can cultivate this crop. It's
And
one way you
can this system be used to grow moringa?
100%. So
Okay.
the only thing is, but I will tell you some certain limitations later
Okay.
or caveats. So yes, let me.
All right, thank you, sir. Welcome back, everybody. So we'll be talking about plant physiology. We'll be talking about plant physiology. And plant physiology basically is when you study the functions and processes that occurs around plants. So you are trying to know, if I plant my seed, what will happen? How will they grow? In how many days? To harvesting, what do I need to do? You can see the video playing currently. That's the way at which plants grows. You understand. So what we are just trying to learn in this session is for you to understand the agronomic activities around crop production. Oh, I want to grow shoko. I want to grow tete. I want to grow ugu. What do I need to do? How do I need to start the processes? So that's what we'll be discussing. And I believe we'll remember our signature crops, the recommended crops. So this is going to be a sort of activity for us. So one after the other, let me call our names so that I can get that. So for number one, Mr. Joshua, what do we have here? What plant is this?
That should be tete.
Tete, correct. Thank you. Mr. Dami, what do we have on the second picture?
Oh, let me see. I guess that should be spinach.
You can try again.
Let me see.
Just pick from the options on your left hand side.
Open secret.
Oh, sorry?
I said open secret. The name is there.
We have names already. Just match
Oh,
it.
I know. I'm just trying to Ewedu.
No.
No, okay.
Last option.
Shoko.
Shoko, you are correct. Thank you. Mr. Bamidele, number 3. What do we have here?
That's Ewedu.
Ewedu, thank you very much. Who is going next? Who is going next? Number 4.
Don't call Mr. Joshua.
I won't call Mr. Joshua again. Nello
Number
Bites.
4 is Gure now.
Okay.
Gure.
Gure, water leaf. Thank you.
Water leaf.
The last one. So that's an open answer. The last.
That's spinach. That's Munututu.
Munututu, thank you. That's a Munututu. That's spinach.
One quick question, please. This spinach that you are talking about, is it the same spinach that they eat in the Western world?
The answer is yes now. Malaga spinach, Abi.
Because
yes,
spinach is very, very
spinach.
popular here. So I'm thinking that is it different from the spinach that you are?
It's the red one. You see more of the white one in the Western world.
Okay, white one. Okay.
It's still the spinach. I'm gonna do it, but this is the red one.
Okay, all right.
Here, also the red one is richer.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I believe we can.
You didn't put ugu there.
Yes, I didn't put ugu.
Ugu is the king of them all.
Is the king, really?
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. So let's move further. This is just examples. We have a number of them, a lot of them. And we'll be talking about plant parts and their functions. We have roots, we have the leaf, we have the stem. But based on the crops we've recommended, we might not be going into flowers and fruits right now. You understand. But what does the roots do? It's the structure where everything is happening. In fact, let's say 90% is happening. But you can even see the root health and function is not even 99% of plants growth, because majorly everything happening to plants is around the roots. Is around the roots. What does your roots do? It serves as an anchorage for your plants. Have you seen someone just plant a stem without roots and you see wind blow? What will happen to that stem? It will fall off. But I believe you've seen vegetations whereby there will be breeze, there will be wind, but they will be standing back. That's the function of roots. Roots is holding that plant in place. You understand? And absorption of nutrient and water is also the function of the roots. It's helping you take up nutrients, it's helping you take up water. And in some of our crops like tubers, rhizomes, let's say carrots and all the likes, they serve as storage. You know, a number of times you harvest the food from the roots. So that's the function of roots. You can see what the roots looks like around the net cup is serving as an anchor, holding the leaves in place. We have our leaves too. The leaves, apart from the roots, leaves are also very important. They are also very, very important. For your photosynthesis, you need leaf for photosynthesis to take place, even if your root is taking water and taking nutrients. And there's no amount of seed you grow or you sow. The first set of leaves that will come out, they are just two. And those leaves are called what? False leaves. They are called false leaves. At this stage, you can't transplant your crop because they are not matured yet or they are not ready for transplanting. Look at the second picture. Now we have the true leaf. That's the second set of leaves that are coming up. Even at this stage, you might not be able to transplant until you have multiple set of leaves. Then you will say, oh, this plant is ready for transplanting. But in short, your leaves are very important to produce food for plants, especially as far as photosynthesis is concerned. We have our stem too. Apart from being a supportive material or a supportive part, it also helps in transporting water and nutrients. You can see, even if you have roots and you don't have stem, how will nutrients get to your leaves and all of that? So stem is also very, very important. Now to our growing systems. MD has showed us the systems we have, you understand, but this is just to go through them and to explain the technicalities behind them. So this is an outdated system. It is called responsive drip technique system, but it got the name from the type of drip that is being installed in that system, and the drip is called responsive drip irrigation. So just like the way humans sweat on your skin, that's the way the drip sweats from the micropores. And like the exudate Mr. Joshua mentioned the other time, it's just like a phytochemical that the plant releases when they need water and say, oh, I need water, irrigation, please, this drip, give me water. Once the responsive drip irrigation system senses the exudate, it releases the water to the plant. So there's no situation like your plant is being flooded or your trough is flooded, no. So in this kind of a system, you have trays, you have racks, arranged vertically. So it's a vertical system. You can see this is just about 4 racks. In some cases, you can have 7, you can have 8. You've seen indoor farms where they have ladder to climb up and access the plant. So depending on your size and the height of your room, so that will tell you the kind of system you are going to build. You understand. And the trough you are seeing here is just about 8 feet long. And from these 8 feet, you can produce about 5 bundles of vegetable from just one trough. But how many troughs do we have here? We have 5 on a rack and we have 4 racks. So that's 20 troughs. So you know what will be coming out of just from one system. But like I said, your system design will be dependent on the size of your room and probably the height of the room as well. We have the growth tower. So the growth tower is also a vertical column with spaces, openings by the side. As I'm explaining it, you know, you will also picture it. Even if you don't see the picture, you will get, oh, this is what they are trying to say. You see spaces by the side, and the plastics that are used are food grade plastics. So some people might be worried and say, oh, they've told us not to do anything with plastic and all of that. They are food grade plastics. So you hang your plants by the side on the openings, and the system has a reservoir at the base for your water and your nutrients. It also has a pumping system, because how we water gets to the top, because you know definitely we are going to have plants at the top. The pump is the one pushing the water to the top of the tower. Then we have our planting containers. I call them net cups. Net cups, that's where you put in your cups. You understand. And like I think last week, we showed us different systems that we have. The grow room, you know, we have the tetra, we have mini and ultra. So the tetra is just one system. So in that one system, you can grow about 48 bundles of living vegetable at once per time. You can grow that conveniently from this growing tower. So now to agronomic practices. There are some practices you need to imbibe or you need to do before you can say, oh, I'm growing crops. For example, number one is scarification. Scarification is you trying to break the dormancy or trying to soften the seed coats, the hard seed coats of your seeds. For example, you need to do this for ewedu is compulsory if you want it to germinate on time. For tete, for shoko, you might necessarily not do that. Now, how do you scarify? Just tie the seeds in a material that can imbibe water, then dip it inside warm water, just for a few seconds, then leave it for a while. So while leaving it, you are trying to soften the seed coat so that by the time you are opening it up, you are planting straight and they germinate effectively and faster. You can see from the video I'm showing you currently. Another thing that is very important before you even go into practices, agronomy practices at all, is your water treatment. I believe a number of us are familiar with the municipal water supply system. A number of times the water are being treated with chlorine, and chlorine can affect your plant growth. It's at least you know you are contributing to the iron level and all of that in the system, also in the system of your plants. But how do you dechlorinate your water? The method one, we have two methods actually, but the first method, I will say, is not cost effective, even though it is effective when it comes to dechlorination. You can just get your dechlorination tablets. But imagine you are applying 30 grams of dechlorination tablets per 1 liter of water. And imagine the volume of water you'll be using. So that doesn't seem sustainable. But method two is very cost effective. Just get a big bowl, put in your water, 48 hours, it has been dechlorinated already. Oh, I don't want it to spend 48 hours. Just in one day, can it be faster? Yes, you can put in an aerator. Just plug in an aerator and it will be dechlorinated. So you are cool with that. That's a traditional method and cost-effective method.
Sorry,
How do you?
Would this apply to every water? I mean, when you talk
Especially
of dechlorination, are you talking of water generally, you dechlorinate it?
So what I'm saying is, you know, a number of water systems over there, especially where you are, they are being treated with chlorine.
Okay, like tap water,
Yes,
you
so
mean?
like tap water. So that kind of water, you need to dechlorinate them.
So we can't just use it. Oh,
Don't use it. It might be
oh,
harmful to your crop.
all right, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Thank you. So moving forward now, we'll talk about nursery. At least let's say we are growing ewedu. You've scarified. You've dechlorinated your water. If you are using responsive drip technique system, you've seen they've shown us how the system looks like. You have trough and you have substrate in the trough. So in this kind of system, you can sow directly into the substrate. The only preparation you need to do is, oh, I have my system in place. I have the drip irrigation in place. My trough is set and my substrate is there already. So in two to 3 days before you sow, you might have moistened your substrate already, opened the drip tape, the substrate is not dry, then you put in your seeds line in such that it's a line form. You understand? You can see the pattern in which the seed has been sown. So you can grow this from seed to harvesting without raising a nursery. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you are using this kind of a system, you can plant directly, and in 6 weeks, your plants are ready. You understand, depending on the stage that you want to harvest. So you can, if you are using responsive drip technique system, you can sow directly. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you are using a grow tower, you need a nursery. And what kind of nursery can you place, or what kind of substrate can you use for your nursery? You can use your rock wool. We've seen rock wool the other time. I'll still be showing us the pictures. We've seen cocoa pit. You can use your cocoa pit to raise nursery before you transplant in the growing tower. So look at this. This is rock wool. And like it has been said, you don't just sow one seed, because what we are trying to achieve is that bunch. So you sow 5 to 6 seeds per rock wool per time. You see, this is a rock wool. This is a rock wool. So the seed is being sown already. This is not a weed, that's why you can't see it in form of bunch. But I'm just trying to show us how the plants will grow in the rock wool.
I want to clarify one thing. In one cube of rock wool, how many holes will you make? Is it just one hole or multiple holes?
So if you have a tiny hole on the rock wool, you can make it wide a bit so that it can accommodate your 5 to 6 seeds, because the seeds, they all to germinate together so that you can achieve that bunch and
Okay.
transplant. You
Okay.
get
So
that.
I just need to make one hole, or can I make multiple holes and then grow?
It's better you make everything at the spot. Just make sure the hole is wide a bit to accommodate the seeds.
Okay.
You understand? And when you are transplanting, you don't need to remove the plant from the rock wool. You transplant the rock wool in the net cup directly before placing them in the growing chamber.
But can one have like 4 holes in one cube and then grow multiple seeds in each hole? So instead of having one bunch, have like 4 bunch in one cube.
In one cube. So let me say, if we have different sizes of cubes, that can be achieved. But this cube you are looking at, when there is overpopulation, it will also hinder the rate of growth of your seedlings. You understand? So it is something that has been tested and perfected. 5 to 6 seeds can be grown as a bunch on one rock wool cube.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification.
So using cocoa peat as a substrate now, we've talked about rock wool, and you transplant the whole of the rock wool in the net cup. If you are using cocoa peat, for example, as a substrate, after you've achieved that bunch, in 2 or 3 weeks, you will rinse off the base, you rinse off the cocoa peat from the root of the plant. This is a little bit different now when you are using cocoa peat, or probably you are using potting soil. You rinse it off and you get a net cup with this foam you are looking at currently. You see, this foam is being splitted by the side. What you just need to do is you open that and you put in your seedlings, sorry. Now you've rinsed the cocoa peat from the root of the seedlings. Because cocoa peat, is an organic matter made from coconut hulls. It can be dusted into your system, which will not make sense. So you have to rinse it off totally, then put it in this form before putting it in your net cup. You can see the process. Then you now hang the net cup on your growing system. So you can see the difference between using a rock wool and using probably cocoa peat or potting soil or any other material. What about nutrition? There is this rule of thumb. It's even general that if you transplant today, you don't start giving your plants nutrients the same day. It's like you are trying to choke them. So what do you need to do? Just irrigate them for a few days, 1 or 2 days, for them to stabilize properly in that system. So after the stabilization process, you can now start introducing nutrients. And in this case, we recommend NPK 20-20-20. Why are we recommending this NPK? It's a balanced composed NPK. You can see 20% of nitrogen, 20% of phosphorus, and 20% of potassium. So this can help grow your vegetable till the harvesting period. You understand? And what's the function of nitrogen? Vegetative growth, growing more leaves. What's the function of phosphorus? Proper root development for you to be able to uptake nutrients. And potassium, in this case, potassium has two functions, but the main function of potassium is to serve as a regulator. It's the one telling nitrogen, go and work for production of leaves. Phosphorus, go and work for production of more roots. Go and work for proper roots development. In fruity vegetables and all of that, potassium works for fruit development. But in this case, what we are trying to say is NPK 2020 will help grow your vegetables till harvesting period. But peradventure, oh, I want my taste. I want the vegetable taste to be sweeter. I want a good taste for my vegetable. You can introduce magnesium sulfate at 2 weeks after transplanting. So when you see WAT, it's weeks after transplanting. 2 weeks after you transplant, you can introduce your magnesium sulfate, just about 0.1 gram per liter. So in every 100 liters, 10 grams is enough for you to introduce your magnesium sulfate. And please note, if you are to harvest in 3 days, you stop giving them nutrients. So what are you trying to do? You are trying to detoxify their system. I believe you must have gotten some vegetables before, and before you get home, it has turned black. It's because the toxic materials are still in their system. So 3 days to harvesting, you give them just water. It helps you retain that shape and the color of your vegetable, even on your shelf. I hope we understand that. Let's quickly talk about what you tend to realize from your growing system. From the RDT system, I told you the other time that a trough is about 8 feet. From that 8 feet, you can get 4 to 5 bundles of vegetable per time. And looking at this system, how many troughs can we see at the top alone? 5 troughs. So from 5 troughs, that means you can get 20 to 25 bundles of vegetables. Now, all together in 20 troughs, you can get about 80 to 100 bundles of vegetables per time, per growing season or per growing period. What about the growing tower? Between 48 bundles, because you know they've been perforated already. So that's the number you understand in that system. So 48 bundles of vegetables, and that's about 9 to 10 kg. MD will say to tell us about the financial implications and all of that. But at this period, let me say thank you for your attention. If we have questions, please let's bring them on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Femi, for your presentation. While people are planning to provide questions or ask questions, can you go to that slide before the standing system? I just wanted to see the numbers and analysis you did there.
Do you mean this?
Yes, Femi.
Okay.
Are we good? Are we good?
Yes, I have a question, or I want to pick your brain, Femi, and the MD himself. So looking at the picture here, there's this trough that has you have 5 and you have 4 layers. That's 20.
Yeah.
So and from the analysis or some of the presentation that Femi did, I think I saw is it 5 to 6 weeks that it takes to germinate to full grown leaf that can be harvested. So based on your own experience, can one have multiple racks that have so you can have like a trough that okay, maybe okay, let me just backtrack. Okay, maybe when one is starting, one can okay, let me rethink
Mr.
the way to
Bamidele,
ask. Yeah.
um, so you are actually asking the last question now
Okay,
because
okay.
you want to know about how to make money and all that.
Exactly, because if I have to wait five
Yes.
weeks,
So don't
what
worry,
what
don't
what, what
worry.
am I doing? I'm
You
just waiting and
Just
singing every
just
day.
note just note this part. Note it. We will tackle. We have a whole hour to deal with all this.
Okay,
Because
no
at the end
problem.
of the day, it's how to convert all this to money and immediate business execution that one this will end in. You get it. Our
Yeah.
ultimate goal is how to convert all this to money. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So just note your question like that. It's good. Note every details. It will be dealt with. Don't worry.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my question is,
Okay.
you know the trough system,
Yeah.
is the vertical system. You see that one uses pump. That one uses a
Yes.
pump. Okay, so does the trough system use a pump?
So let me say yes and no. It depends on the scale of operation. But basically that trough system uses a tank. A tank is connected to the troughs. So you just get water into the tank. That's all.
So by using the troughs, you are even saving a bit of money on the cost of electricity to pump the
Yes,
water.
you are. Like I said, each has pros and cons.
Okay, all
So
right. So,
just have the tank. You are not pumping continuously. You understand? You are not pumping
okay,
continuously. It's
all right.
gravity fed. Once you get the exact PSI, we will talk about that. It's
Okay.
gravity fed, and then it supplies. And remember, the yesterday draws the nutrient out when it needs, and then it shuts it down when it's done.
Okay. So, but the vertical system that doesn't use
So the
response.
vertical system is just water. It's a very low energy consuming pump.
Okay. Obviously, we will talk about that later
I'm
at the
not
end
sure it costs you ten
when
dollars.
it comes to cost structure and return
Yes,
on investments. Is very, very important.
yes.
We will talk about that at the end.
So yes, any other question or clarification on the sections we are done with? If there are no immediate question, we are going to have a short break, just 10 minutes. When we come back from that break, we'll be talking about light. Light. I learned something about light. There are two types of light. There is that light that gives illumination, and there is that light that gives both illumination and also help to grow. So we'll be talking about light. Why is light important? What do you need to look out for in your light? what type of light do we make use of in our systems? We'll be talking about it. So we meet in 10 minutes. This is it is 2 minutes after 6 in the UK. Am I right? 2 minutes after 12 CST. Is there anybody from another time zone? It should be 2 minutes after 11. After 11 or 2 minutes after 10. British Columbia. Saskatoon should be CST. Am I right? Should be 2 minutes after 12 there. So we convey back in 10 minutes. So by whatever time it is, in 10 minutes time, we convey back. Yes. So I don't know if our team, admin, can you continue with our video while we quickly go on short break?
Of course, few bigger ones like Apple Computers or Southwest Airlines or Martin Luther King. And you see it not only in organizations but great leaders as well, like Martin Luther King or John F. Kennedy or Nelson Mandela. And what I learned is that regardless of their size and regardless of their industry, every single one of these leaders, every single one of these organizations thinks, acts, and communicates the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was write it down. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. And it's 3 concentric circles, a bullseye. In the middle is why, the center ring is how, and the outside ring is what. Why, how, what. It's this little idea that distinguishes those with the capacity to inspire versus everyone else. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single organization on the planet knows what they do. These are the products you sell, the services you offer. Everyone here knows what they do. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition, your USP, your proprietary process. These are the things that you think make you different or special or stand out from the competition, from everyone else. But very, very few people and very few organizations can clearly articulate why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make money. That's a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose, what's your cause, what's your belief. Why does your organization exist? Do we really need another company to do what you're doing? Do we really need another one? Why did you get out of bed this morning? And why should anyone care? As a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. We tell people what we do. We tell them how we're different or how we're better or how we're special. And we expect some sort of behavior, a vote, a purchase, support, whatever it is. But not those leaders with the capacity to inspire. Regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, every single one of them thinks, acts, and communicates from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple frequently just because they're easy to understand and we all get it. If Apple were like everyone else, a piece of communication would sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. That's normal. Here's our new car. It's got, great gas mileage, leather seats, tinted windows. Here's our law firm. We went to all the best schools. We've got all the best lawyers. We win all of our cases. We work with all of the biggest firms. This is normal. Here's how Apple actually communicates. They start with why. Everything we do, they say, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? It actually feels different. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it starts to show us is that it's not what you do that matters, it's why you do it. And what you do simply serves as the tangible proof of what you believe. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This is the reason why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable with the idea that Apple sells computers. We're also perfectly comfortable with the idea that Apple sells MP3 players and phones and DVRs. Apple is just a company, that's all they are. It's a corporate structure. Every single one of their competitors has equal and open access to the same resources, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same talent, the same media. It is a zero-sum game. The difference is all of their competitors have defined themselves by what they do. We make computers. Apple has defined themselves by why they exist. To challenge the status quo, to give an individual the opportunity to stand up to Big Brother and choose a simple alternative. Everything they say and everything they do simply serves as proof. Dell makes perfectly good products. They're every little bit qualified to make every single product that Apple makes. And a few years ago they tried. A few years ago Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And nobody bought one. Doesn't make sense. Why would we buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. Because it's not what you do that matters, it's why you do it. And people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. For this little idea to work, we have to have three things. One, you have to know why you do what you do. If you don't know why you do what you do, how will anyone else? You have to have clarity of why. Two, you have to have discipline of how. You have to hold yourself and your people accountable to your own guiding principles and your own values. And thirdly, you have to have consistency of what? Everything you say and everything you do has to prove what you believe. This is the concept behind authenticity. People are always telling us you have to be authentic. People prefer to buy from the authentic brand. They prefer to vote for the authentic candidate. What does that mean? How do you implement authenticity? If I send you home to your work tomorrow and say, please, the next thing you do, I want to make sure it's more authentic. What's the first thing you're going to do? No clue. What authenticity means is the things you say and the things you do, you actually believe. This is caveman stuff. The reason the human race is so successful is not because we're the strongest, it's not even because we're the smartest. It's because we're social animals. It's because we have the ability to form communities and cultures. What's a community? What's a culture? It's a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. What's a country? It's a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. What's a company? It should be a group of people with a common set of values and beliefs. When we're surrounded by people who believe what we believe, something remarkable happens. Trust emerges. Make no mistake of it, trust is a feeling. Trust is a human experience. Simply doing everything you say you're going to do does not mean people will trust you. It just means you're reliable. And we all have friends who are total screw-ups, and yet we still trust them. Trust is a feeling born out of a common set of values and beliefs, and our very survival depends on our ability to find those people so that we can form trust. When we trust them and they trust us, we're more willing, we're more likely to take risks, to explore, to experiment, which requires failure, by the way, all with the confidence that if we turn our backs or fall over or make a mistake, that someone from within our community will come to our aid or watch our back or help us up. Absent trust, we still have the will to survive. The difference is, it's every man for himself. Absent trust, we all try and push each other out of the way because we got to win, we got to compete, we got to live, we got to survive. This is what happened at Lehman Brothers. Lehman Brothers was very, very good at what they did. Very, very good at how they did it. But there was no sense of purpose or cause or why that bonded the company together. And at the slightest shake, the whole thing collapsed. Not in months, not in weeks, in days. That company collapsed in days. And that's because when stress started to show up, all the individuals said, I'm out of here. Got to look after numero uno. Got mouths to feed, got bills to pay. They're not the first organization to go through hard times. They're not the first organization to suffer financial scandal. The difference is in great organizations, in great cultures, and in great communities, when there is stress, the organization comes together to solve the problem. Absent trust, we back off and the thing collapses. The most basic human desire on the planet is to feel like we belong. Again, we are social animals, and we all have the innate ability to do this. If I ask you to go out in the street and find all the people who believe what you believe, you know exactly what to do. You're going to strike up a conversation with someone. You'll either have good chemistry with them or you won't. You'll either get along with them quickly or it'll take some time. The point is, you know how to do it. Our survival depends on it. It's called dating. It's called making friends. It's called networking. We know how to do it. The problem is, it's not scalable. But if you know the symbols to look for, it becomes much easier. If I ask you to go out on the street and find all the people wearing red hats, it's easy. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. They're easy to spot because you know what to look for. This is what we do when we look for certain symbols and we read things about each other. Every single decision we make in our lives, as individuals or as organizations, is a piece of communication. It's our way of saying something about who we are and what we believe in an attempt to attract people so that they may form trust with us and we may form trust with them. There are people who walk around with Harley Davidson logos on their body, right? On tattoos. This is a corporate logo. Some of them don't even own the product. But it has nothing to do with the company. It has to do with them. Because Harley is so clear about what they believe, because they're so disciplined in how they do it, and they're so consistent in what they do, it gets to the point that everything they say and everything they do now serves as a symbol of the person, of who they are, of who they believe they are. And the reason we want to put those symbols out is so that we may attract people who believe what we believe. You can lie. You could tell people what we think they want to hear, and they'll still be attracted to you, except they'll be attracted to the lie. And then when they realize that it's not true, you'll have a hard time forming trust. This is what Tiger Woods did to us. He lied to us. He told us what he thought we wanted to hear, and we thought it was great. The difference is we found out it was a lie. And now he's having a very hard time forming trust again. If I told you that some footballer cheated on his wife and slept with 100 women, would you care? No. It's because we expect it. It's because it's authentic. It's because it's who they are. But not with Tigers. He chose to lie to us. It's not actually the behavior that we're offended by. It's that it's inconsistent with what our expectations are. Everything you say and everything you do has to prove what you believe. Like I said, the most basic human desire is to feel like we belong, and it's so remarkably powerful. How many of you are from Paris? Most of you, right? Yeah, a good number of you. Okay. Are you friends with everyone in Paris? Why not? Why not? But when you go to Lyon and you meet someone from Paris, you're like, hey, I'm from Paris, and you're best friends. And when you go to America and you're on holiday, and you're standing there in New York and you're riding the subway and you happen to hear French being spoken behind you, and you turn around and you say, where are you from? They say, Lyon. We say, we're from Paris, and you're best friends. Because when you're in an environment where you don't feel like you belong, you seek out anyone who may share the same values and beliefs as you so that you can start to form trusting relationships. And the amazing thing is, those relationships are real. Those relationships are real. That other family will say to you, have you eaten at this restaurant? You've got to go to this restaurant. And you will take your family to this restaurant because complete strangers on the subway told you to. That's insane. If that happened here, if somebody on the metro just turned to you and told you to go to some restaurant, you'd go like this. The most basic human desire on the planet is to feel like we belong. And we have the innate ability to find those things and to sense that. This is the reason why this could not be recreated over our computers. It's because as human beings, it's our biology that gives us this ability. It's this ability to read each other. You know, the blogosphere gets very upset at me when I talk about this and how, you cannot replace these human experiences and these human feelings over the internet. They get very mad at me. And yet, every single year, 20,000 bloggers descend on Las Vegas to have a huge big conference they call Blogsphere, or Blog World. My question is, why couldn't they do it online? It's because nothing can recreate that sense of human being, of human coming together. Nothing I'm telling you is my opinion. It's actually grounded in the tenets of biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain looking from the top down, you see that the human brain evolved into 3 major areas that corresponds precisely with this little idea. The outside area is our neocortex, our Homo sapien brain, responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle 2 sections make up our limbic brains. And our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision making, and it has no capacity for language. This is the reason you can't ask people, why do you do business with us? Why do you like us? They can't tell you. The part of the brain that controls behavior doesn't control language, and so they rationalize. This is the reason why the question, why do you love your husband or why do you love your wife, is a difficult question. Why do you love your wife? I don't know.
Why do you love your wife? Mr.